Okay, well that's better. Now maybe I can see if you guys say something, then I can talk to you. So make sure you come and see I got this backwards sign here, Daniel. Daniel the adjuster. If I put it this way, you can't see it. But if you put it this way, you can. Daniel the adjuster. Daniel the adjuster. All right. Well, hey, I got one person that read my sign. See, I was saying that if I hold it this way, you can't read it because the camera's backwards. So I got to hold it backwards, and then you can see Daniel the adjuster. So thanks for joining me. Hey, if you have any questions, I still don't know if the chat works, but if you want to, you can shoot me a text or a chat, and, oh, they left. Well, that was fun. So Daniel the adjuster, Daniel the adjuster, Daniel the adjuster. All right, I'm on my day off. I was just working on a YouTube video, and I decided to go live. While I was working on my adjuster video. So then you guys can ask me questions about what an adjuster, Daniel the adjuster, does. So if you want to join me, that would be great. So let's see. I wonder if I can print it backwards. Let's see, file, print, backwards, core landscape, letter, normal margins, page for sleep. Page, the whole thing, custom print. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. We want to flip. I am looking at this. Flip layout text. I want to flip text. Flip. Design draw. Okay, anybody else wants to come on in, you're welcome to it. Well, hey, thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. There, you got somebody in here. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Daniel the adjuster here. What I'm in the middle of is, see, if I printed this sign, I was going to go, Daniel the adjuster, but then it's backwards. So I got to flip it around. Daniel the adjuster. The camera's backwards and I can't flip it. So anyways, I'm on my day off here. I actually did have a Saturday off for the first time in a long time and decided to check out this live here to see if anybody would be interested. So just checking it out, see if you guys want to talk about how to be an adjuster, and join me, and we will certainly answer your questions if you have any. So I am trying to flip this sign. Let's see. So let's go over here to this. Flip text on Word. Let's see. Flip text. Rotate, flip text. Format shape. Okay, well, that'll work. Format. Do you want to come eat with us? Oh, no, thank you. Here. Just answering a text. Well, that doesn't work. Let's see. So, format, text, file, format. Nope, that's not working either. Update text, manage text, insert. Okay, well. Oh, so you got to do word art? That doesn't make any sense. Word art. Okay. Insert word art. Shapes. Text box. Insert word art. All right, well, let's do this. Big old black and ugly. There, Daniel the Adjuster. And we want to make that thing nice and big. All right, so home. We want to make that 120. Okay, make it big. Daniel the Adjuster. Daniel the Adjuster. Okay, Daniel the Adjuster. Now, we want to format shape, and we want to text options. How about shape options? Effects, layout, properties. All right, text flip. Vertical alignment, top, middle, okay, text direction. Text options. Outlines. Wow, this is quite interesting to be able to flip this. And it brings send back link, save picture, out text. Well, let's see. Format. Enter your text. Well, there, hey, welcome. I'm just mucking around on the computer. I'm trying to upload another video. And so, anyways. Alrighty. Boom, 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 boom. I am trying to figure out how to do this. All right, format shape. Select all. All right, format. Insert. Boom, 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 boom. Do, 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 do. All right, let's try something else. I'm going to open up Paint, and File, New, Edit, okay, edit up there. Okay, we got that. Delete that. All right, let's just do something big. Daniel the Adjuster. All right, so we got this. Rotate that. The Boom, 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 boom. Make it big. I'll make 120. Okay. And we want to center it. Oh, that's not it, text. I want to center it. Russell 1, Daniel the Adjuster. There he is. Hey, somebody join me. Thanks so much. Sitting here being bored to death, but waiting around for somebody to join me. Oh, there they go. Oh, well. It is what it is. All right, so I want to edit with 3D. Don't save. Let's edit with 3D. All right. Boom, 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 boom. All righty, let's see. Let's see. No, I don't want that. How do you get rid of it? Boom, 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 boom. Magic select, 2D shape, 3D shape, text. Daniel the Adjuster. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Let's do this. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I am just plugging along, making a new video for my YouTube channel. So if you guys have any questions while I am plugging along, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will get to them ASAP. Yeah, I am just in the process of putting up another video that is very good. It is the second part to my live stream. I put a GoPro on my head and did a roof inspection, well, the perimeter inspection of the house, and then also on the roof. And so I'm just getting ready to put that up. I've been working on that for the last couple of hours, and yeah, so let's do that. I'll delete that. How do I get rid of this? Oh, brother. Ugh. Well, hey, thanks for joining me. Daniel the Adjuster. Hey, any questions, feel free to hit me up with them. I am just working on a new video for YouTube, get this uploaded for you guys. It's the second part to my full house inspection, which was where the GoPro, and you'll be able to see exactly what I see and go around the whole perimeter of the house and then get up on the roof. It's cool. I'm just getting ready to put it up. So if you got any questions, you want to know how to be an adjuster, you got questions, maybe you're an adjuster already and you're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, I'm lost, I'll be happy to help. You know, put a comment in there. I can't read your mind, I don't know what you're going to think, so if you got something you want to talk about, let's talk about it, and I'll be more than happy to help you. So I've been an adjuster about 8 years, and came from the home building background, so got a lot of experience there. Shani, pleased to meet you. Thank you so much for joining me, and good afternoon to you too. This is my first, absolutely first live stream on YouTube, so you are special. Because hey, Mr. Lavelle Brown, thank you so much for joining me. I was just telling the last person, Shani, that this is my first live stream as an adjuster, so I thought I would make it special on a Saturday for you guys. You got any questions? you're like, man, what the heck is an adjuster? Or maybe, hey, you got questions about how to be an adjuster. Maybe you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, but I learned to be an adjuster a while back from a guy. I was in Texas. I was actually there on a different purpose. Hurricane Ike hit, and it was down in Galveston Island. I was here in North Carolina, and work had just bombed. 2008, the economy tanked, and I was out of work, and it was like, what the heck am I going to do? And Hurricane Ike happened, and it was a big storm, and 40,000 houses were damaged on Galveston Island. And I'm sitting there looking at my wife going, we are going to go broke here as a contractor in North Carolina if we don't find some work. So she said, you know, have you ever thought maybe we could go down to Galveston Island and see if we can find some work down there? So that's what we did. And we said, okay, let's do a 30-day trial. We'll head down there and see if we can find some work, building some houses and doing whatever. So we get down there, and the economy hadn't even affected Texas. I mean, it was totally unbelievable. They were running around like nothing happened. Things were going crazy. Houses were being built. But here I am with a North Carolina license plate, out of town, and I'm walking into a place that's absolutely ground zero. I mean, Galveston was ground zero when that Hurricane Ike came through. And I'm looking for work, and I can't find work. So people are like, hey, you're out of state. You're not supposed to be working here. We only applying to the people that are here in Texas. Well, anyway, so I didn't listen to it. We ended up staying on Galveston Island for about 6 months, and we did find work. We were able to find carpentry work, miscellaneous. But I got introduced to the insurance world because there was a guy, I was online. You know, work was okay. I really wasn't doing well. Wasn't building any houses, so work was just really slow. And so I got online, and the guy that introduced me first to adjusting was, here I am, I'm on Galveston Island, and I see this guy with a Florida plate, and I go up to him and I say, hey man, I say, you out of town here looking for work like carpenter, like I am too? And he goes, no, I'm not a carpenter, I'm not a builder. He says, I'm an adjuster. And I'm like, well, what the heck's an adjuster? I mean, I was so dumb, I didn't have a clue what an adjuster was at that time. So he kind of filled me in, told me a little bit about what he was as an adjuster. And I said, wow, that's really cool. So I started, how I got started was that I got online. While I'm still on Galveston Island, I got online and I said, you know, put in adjuster. And then that was when I found Cato, which at that time, its web address was cado.org, and that was catadjuster.org. Well, they now changed it, and I think it's now catadjuster.org. It's all out in one long word. But I got on there, and I started looking at some of the blogs, and there was, you know, a forum there, and there was another one, Top Adjuster, I think it was, or I can't remember what the other one was. But anyway, so I started reading some of their blogs, and the posts that they had about how to be an adjuster, because I didn't know what it was. And so I was like, well, you know, this is really information. I can really use this. And so I kept reading and reading and reading, and I was like, this is so cool. This will work really well with my carpentry background. I could be an adjuster. So anyway, so three guys just started answering a lot of my questions because I was posting pretty regularly and asking questions. And three guys really just kind of took it upon themselves to answer every question I had. And it was really cool. And so I learned so much on that forum. So I recommend that to anybody. And it's still there. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of documentation out there for adjusters to learn. And so that's what I did. And so these guys, they just kind of took me under the wing and just said, you need to go get your license for whatever state you live in. And so at that time, it was Texas. And so I went ahead and I studied for the Texas test. And, you know, it was hard. And I was like, this is crazy. So then anyways, as I spent more time on the adjusters forum, I found a guy that was in Houston who was an actual adjuster right there in Houston. And so I contacted him and I said, hey, dude, I said, I'm a brand new adjuster, never done this before. Would you be interested in, you know, a ride along? And because I had read on the forums that one of the coolest ways to to get work on these forums, or to get work actually when you first get started, is to carry somebody's ladder. So, and carrying somebody's ladder, for those who don't know, is when I go out on a job and I inspect a roof, I carry my ladder. I pull it out of my car, and so basically I wanted to carry that guy's ladder for him so that he didn't have to do it, and it was also helping him out. So he gave me a chance to just kind of ride along with him and learn the ropes and follow a few times of his adjustments with him. So to answer your question, best way for training for me, let me double check, make sure I got it right here. I can't read your message. Ride-alongs. No, I actually don't do ride-alongs at this point, but really the best training for what I tell people to do is to ask those around them if they would do a ride-along. I have considered it, but here's the thing that kind of, when I did it with this guy, my intentions were not to do it long-term. It was not to do it to basically tag along and say, hey, can I learn from you for free? Because I was taking advantage of his time, and I knew that, and I was very conscientious of that. I didn't want to be a bother to him. The thing that was kind of weird with the relationship with him is he, I think, had intentions of hiring me. So he had a different scenario than I did. I'm not looking to hire anybody because I'm just willing to train people. I'm willing to help people get started in this, but I'm not really at this point in time ready to start to take on like a course or training people. And he was the total opposite approach. He was like, I want to have all these adjusters under me, and I want them to work for me. Now, let me clarify why I don't feel like that's a good option for anyone new in this business. Is because a lot of these guys, including him, now when I found out later, he was actually taking advantage of the guys that were working under him. So you have to understand the relationship. The relationship with the firm, okay, is you've got the insurance company at the top. So you got your Progressive, State Farm, whoever it is, they're up top. We cannot go directly, or insurance adjusters cannot go directly to the insurance company. So we have to go through a firm. So the firm is right in the middle, and then we're down here at the bottom. So when we go through the firm, we're basically saying to the firm, can I get on your roster and work for you? And you are going to take 40% of my money, of anything that I make, in order for me to be a part of working for that insurance company. So I can't go directly to the insurance company. I have to work for a firm. So the firm is really important to work for somebody who is really a credible person, who's honest, who's going to make sure they pay you, and so on and so forth. And the problem with this new guy the guy that I was working from, he wasn't a big firm. I think he had maybe 10 or 12 guys that were working under him, and he wanted me to be a part of that as well. The downside is he wasn't paying them a fair amount to basically work under him. So you got to remember, there's still a cut. The insurance firm is taking 40% for that firm. So he was acting as the firm. And then if he hires another guy under him, he's going to take a cut of that guy's money too. So he might pay him 20% of the actual full amount of the full amount that's being charged to the insurance company. So those poor guys, and this too, I was doing it for free because I wanted to learn, but I only went with them 5 times in order to learn, basically what an inside inspection was like. But these poor guys were regularly working for him, and they were probably only making 20% of what the insurance company was actually paying. So that could amount to maybe $120 or $100 in inspection. That is not good money, guys. I hate to say that, but that's a terrible gig to do the full claim for somebody and turn it into a sub firm or a firm, and then he then takes the remaining balance and then bills the insurance company for 100%. So it's a very difficult arrangement, but to work as a sub of a sub, that's basically what ride-alongs are like. and ride along where you take, you're willing to work under another adjuster to try and find work. You don't want to do that. So what my recommendation is to study, do the courses, do all the legwork to make you the only person that then works to the main firm, which they're willing to pay you 60% of what they are billing the insurance company. You don't want to take another cut off of that. So another cut of that to work as a sub of an independent adjuster, that would be a very bad idea. So anyways, if you guys got any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. I know I kind of went into a lot of detail there, but kind of doing ride-alongs to me is a great opportunity just to get your feet wet and see if this is something you want to do, but do not plan on doing this long term. It's not a good option. You will be broke and you won't be able to pay your bills with the amount of work that's involved in doing that. And somebody will take advantage of you for that. So you don't want it. So if you guys got any questions, let me know. I'm going to take some water here. But no, I decided to come on live. For those that don't know me, I'm Daniel the Adjuster. I have a YouTube channel, and I started, so if you go to YouTube and you put in Daniel the Adjuster, I'm going to come up number one, because nobody else is stupid enough to call themselves Daniel the Adjuster. So, so anyways, no, so I did that because I actually had 4 or 5 mentors that were very good, but most of them were online. And so these were guys, I only had one person in person that I actually could go see. And that was a guy I rode along with for 5 times. I was not planning on working for him, and I was not planning on doing that long term. So I just wanted to get a kind of a touch base, see how things were going, and see how it worked. But no, the best way is to kind of like what I'm doing. I'm presenting a lot of information on my YouTube channel. And what that's for is so that you guys, if you just spend the time and watch those videos, and this isn't a plug for my channel, my whole purpose of this channel is to teach you guys the same stuff that got taught to me that I had to learn basically on my own. There was nobody out there that was teaching the stuff that I learned. And I learned it from the blogs, and I must have spent, oh my goodness, probably a good several months reading all these forums. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was every night, 4 or 5 hours a night, reading these forums, and just really trying to learn what it was to be an adjuster. Best Xactimate training. Also, my video, I do go into a lot of detail on YouTube. I have, I think, 6 or 7 videos of Xactimate training on my, and this is X1. So X1 is the new software. You can't use 28 anymore. Work is slow. I answer best. Yeah, definitely slow. Best track community ground hire on rosters. So rosters. So training. Let me go back to the Xactimate. Hey Corey, how's it going? I do have Xactimate. So it's going to be hard to keep track of all the questions. But so the Xactimate training on my YouTube channel is actually really helpful for a guy who doesn't know how to use the program. Lots of time there, walk through them, you'll learn the program. It's pretty awesome. And it's repetitive. And so then what I would do is then go to other people's YouTube videos as well, and they will also teach you how to use the software as well. So don't study Xactimate 28, you got to do Xactimate X1. But I have eight videos there. There's probably a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours worth of walkthrough training. You can rewind it, watch it over and over again. You're going to know how to use that program by the time you watch all my programs or watch all my videos. So that's a great opportunity for Xactimate. Now, when you feel comfortable enough to be good at that program, you want to get certified. Certified is only done through Xactware. Xactware is the company who designed X1 or Xactimate, and they offer a certification program, level 1 and level 2. Those certifications are super important for getting deployed or getting on rosters, to be able to find favor with rosters. So the question was earlier is, how do I find favor with a roster, to get on rosters and find favor? Well, you got to get your program certifications, you got to get training. Okay, so if I have Xactimate 1 and 2, I can actually say that to the person that when I get on the phone and say, oh, I just want to let you know I'm Xactimate level 1 and 2 certified. That's huge, huge. You got to understand that's the centerpiece of what I do. If I don't know that program, it's going to slow me down, and it's going to hinder my work. So when a firm that you're going to be working for finds out you're level 1 and level 2 certified, they're going to be like, yeah, buddy, all right, because Xactware's program or their certification is hard. I mean, hard. I almost couldn't believe how hard it was. But the reason being is it's kind of like mastering a program so that later on people can then say, hey, there is no doubt that you know that program. There's no doubt. And so that's the whole point, guys. You got to understand. I'm just closing out some of these windows because I've got some glare on my eyeglasses. Hey, that's better. So mastering that program is the centerpiece of your job. And so if you master that program and the roster firms know that you have got the certification, they don't have to question whether you know how to use the program or not, because the certification is so hard that if you pass it, then you know the program. It's pretty much that it. So what I recommend is watching my videos, watch them 10 times over, do everything that I do in them. And I teach you how to make rooms, doors, window openings, stairs, I mean, everything, how to build a roof, the whole thing, everything that you will need to know how to do in Xactimate, I pretty much are teaching you in my videos. So just go through them, watch them 10, 15 times. You will know that program, take the exam, you'll pass it, and you'll get your certification. So number one, you're going to get your home license wherever you live, and then you're going to get your level 1 and level 2 certification in Xactimate. That's going to be your first two things you got to get. Now, I don't know how you guys are about climbing roofs, if you feel comfortable about it, or if you think that's just something that you don't want to do and you just want to stay on the ground. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But I was wondering the difficulty of the X1 certification. I want to take next week. It's very hard. Okay, so I don't know if you were here just a minute ago, but it is hard. The certification from Xactware is extremely difficult. You got to be prepared. You got to be able to, and it's fast. Okay, so that's another thing that's, you're going to run out of time during the exam. That's what makes it so hard, is that they give you a time limit on the exam, and it's all done online, and hey, you can't cheat on it, because they are basically saying, draw this, and then once you've drawn it, tell me the measurements that this room has, the square foot of wall, square foot of floor space, and it's got to be right down to the 0.21 square feet. And if you drew it wrong, your measurement's not going to be right. So that's why it's super hard. I mean, you have to be able to do exactly what they are saying on the exam and do it to precise detail. And then the answer is, what is the exact square footage of the wall that you'd be painting, less the window openings, less the door openings, less, whatever. And so it's so difficult. And so if you don't know how to use the program, you don't want to take the test. You don't want to waste your money. So take the test only when you feel like you have mastered the program, because otherwise you're going to fail and you're going to throw away your money. What type of vehicle do you use for adjusting? If you check out my last video, well, actually, that's what I'm saying. My last video, I'm just going to post today, actually does go over, I use a Toyota Highlander, okay? And it's an older vehicle, 2011. And thanks for the thumbs up, appreciate it. Highlander is an awesome vehicle. I used to have a van because originally I thought I was going to have to carry a 24-foot ladder with me. And so I got a van, roof rack, the whole thing. I was thinking, yeah, this would be great. I'm going to have this big old van with all the gear that I need in it. And I was also thinking that if I went on catastrophes, I could sleep in my van, which I did a couple times. I hate to say it, but it comes in handy when you can't find a hotel in the middle of nowhere. But the Highlander, to me, I get 21 miles to the gallon. I don't ever carry a big ladder. Okay, so here's the tip, guys. Don't carry an extension ladder. You don't need it. I carry one of those little monster fold-up things. Mine's called the Werner Paint Ladder, Werner Paint Company. It stands about 6 foot tall when it's folded in half, maybe 5'8", something like that. And it extends to like 21 feet. Okay, and that'll get you on pretty much any two-story, unless it's a super tall two-story. And then I carry the mini version of that same thing, which is only about maybe 3 feet tall, about 3 feet tall, and it expands to about 9 feet, about nine and a half feet, something like that. That gets all my double pulls. Double pulls are any time when you would carry one ladder up and you can actually pull that ladder up to the next level, set it on a porch, and then climb to the next level after that. That's called a double pull. But I was like, it's really unsafe to be pulling that ladder from the lower level up. And that's why everybody said double pulls are terrible. Don't ever do them. Well, technically, the real legal name of a double pull is you pull that bottom ladder up to the second level and then climb on it. And then when you're done, put it back down. I went ahead and got the short ladder. I bought the smaller version. I carry that little 4-foot ladder up on my arm while I'm walking up to the second level. I drop that on the porch, and then I set up that second ladder to go up to that second level. So it's technically not a double pull. Telescoping ladders, get away from them, throw them away, never use them. The worst invention ever created. And the reason being is I have heard so many people who have had the clips on those telescoping ladders give way with them while they were on the ladder. Okay, they wear out over time. So they're a great ladder. It's funny, I asked a guy one time, he wanted me to use this telescoping ladder, and I said to him, I said, how old is it? And he goes, oh, it's like 3 months old. I said, okay, I'll use it. Because I knew the clips probably hadn't worn out. But I've seen some of these things look beat up. They're about a year or two old. They're done. I would never get on that ladder. Okay, now here's another thing I don't like about them. That telescoping ladder, it's big and fat at the bottom, but as it gets to the top, it closes into a very point. And that top of that ladder, the last pin, if it's full extended, is only, I bet you it's not even a foot wide. It's like 2 feet on the bottom and about a foot wide at the top. I can't get on that ladder at the top. It's the scariest thing in the world. And the poles are round. Okay, so on the gutter, that baby's sliding all over the place. Get rid of that ladder. Don't buy those things. So it was a great opportunity for a homeowner to have a ladder, but the most unsafest thing for you and I who climb every day. So you guys got any other questions? I'm going to get another drink. This is fun. This is my first live, guys. This is so exciting. I'm so excited. Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Yeah, so I just thought, I'm getting ready to put up this ladder. So we're talking about the Highlander. The reason why I like the Highlander is I can lower down the seats. The back seats go flat. It's a total flat bed. And basically I hold my big ladder on the right side and my little ladder in the side door. I turn it the other way and come backwards. And then I put my bin for all my junk on the left side on the back, and I just pop the hatch back and I get everything in the back. So on my next video, I go through the whole thing. And to answer your question about the tools, the video I'm just going to upload today, hopefully here in the next hour or so, I go over all my tools in my whole bag. My whole bag, the boots, the whatever. But there's another video on my YouTube also, I go over all the tools. There's also, if you look on any of the videos in my YouTube, in the description, I have a link that you can buy every single one of those tools that I have. You just click on it. It's an Amazon link. I don't get any click for them because I stopped being one of those affiliate marketing people because no one is ever buying anything from me. So, so this is just a link to get to the product there if you guys want it. The only thing I sell, hold on, can you recommend a rope and harness training I took? What's the best place to buy Cougar? I buy them from Cougar Paws themselves. Just go on to Cougar Paws direct, right on them. That's who I buy them from. I buy my pads directly from them as well. I don't buy them on Amazon or anything like that. I just go straight to Cougar Paws and buy them. They're the best. They're the same price. I think you might save a few bucks on Amazon, but I don't trust it. And I just want to buy it directly from the people. Steep and tall training, you can go anywhere. I don't recommend one company versus the next. If you get that certification, it's good for anybody. Only reason I would recommend it is if you just feel like you're a little hesitant on knowing how to use your own harness and rope. And I've never had anybody say, do you have rope and harness training? They don't ask you that. It's just for my own personal safety. So what I did, instead of taking the expense of a rope and harness training, the only reason I would do that is I feel like if you just are so afraid of being on a roof and you want to make sure that you always are roped off, you're always harnessed off at the beginning, absolutely recommend that while you're learning to climb those roofs. Great program. It ends up teaching you a lot of safety things there that'll just help you feel more comfortable on the roof. I think when I first started, you got to remember, I was on roofs forever, so I really felt very comfortable on roofs. I was a framer when I was younger, and I would just say I have a little more comfort on a roof than the typical person does, but it was still uneasy on some of the big ones, like getting off a ladder onto a 1212. You got to remember on framing scenarios, I don't have the plywood on. So when I'm getting onto a roof, I've got rafters to hold on to, which is a whole lot easier to climb than it is coming straight up onto a shingled roof. That's really freaky because there's nothing to hold on to. So a rope is always a great idea when you're getting onto those types of roofs. So the rope and harness training is really great if you don't know how to use a rope and harness. But if you do have some familiarity with it, then what I did is went to a rope climbing company. I can't remember what the company's called, Ferris or Farrell or Feezel. No, not Feezel. Fezel, F-E-Z-E-L, I think is the company. No, Peazel. I don't know, I'm guessing. P-E-A-Z-E-L. I have a terrible memory, by the way. So I think it's a rock climbing harness and all the gear that you use to hold ropes. I think it's called Peazel or something like that. That's where I bought all my gear from. But they also have the coolest videos on how to use their equipment also on there as well. So I just went to YouTube channels and studied how to use rope rappelling gear, how to use a harness, how to use rope rappelling, and I just went and bought all the gear that the same guys who do rope climbing and rappelling do, and that's the stuff that I have. So by watching those videos, I learned how to use the gear, and then became very familiar with using the equipment, and then it was second nature whenever I had to get around to it. So tying off a tree, tell you how to tie the knots, how to secure yourself to the roof, how to use your harness, what harness to get, the rappelling equipment. So when I get on these really, really difficult roofs that I need rope, man, I'm good to go. I got it. But most of the time I don't use it because now I feel more comfortable on roofs the more I've climbed, and so I don't need the ropes on just the everyday roof. So question was, do I have any problems with contractors? I don't have problems with contractors, and I think it's all about your attitude. I think when you come to an inspection with a know-it-all attitude, like you're the end of all ends and you're not going to listen to anything they say, or if you're doubting that you're going to find anything good when you get out there, I think people can kind of perceive that you're a know-it-all, and you're going to have problems. So what I typically do is I go there and kind of just have a helpful, hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? And talk to them about their family and friends and whatever. I don't discuss the roof with them. If they say, hey, this looks hail, I say, you know what? I'm an independent adjuster. I really don't discuss anything that I find on the roof. So you understand that arrangement, right? And especially if you say, you kind of in a joking way kind of say, hey, man, you're kind of biased. You know that, right? You're trying to sell this roof. I don't make any money with it. I really don't make much more to buy the roof versus not buy the roof. I get paid for the inspection, and it pretty much is a little bit more if I buy the roof. So that's not my motivation. I don't come in there with a hope to buy the roof because I'm going to make a ton of money. I make the money by going to the inspection. So what I tell people, especially the contractors, is I say, you know what? Unfortunately, you're biased. You want to sell this roof and make your commission on the roof. I don't care. So it's important for me to be unbiased. All right, so what's the process you do for reinspection with a PA? Okay, so I never have re-inspections with PAs because I make sure that the first visit I do with the PA, and this is a public adjuster, guys, I make sure that first adjustment goes really well. Okay, and what I mean by that is that's the person that I'm actually going to be discussing a lot of information with, not treating them as a contractor. Contractor is biased. The public adjuster is biased, but I also don't want to have any of this back and forth battering that takes forever to close a claim. So what I'll do when I'm out there on the job site, and in fact, I've got to know so many public adjusters now, they love when I come out to their jobs because I make it easy for them. And what I mean by easy is that I discuss it with them. And if I find something that's questionable, I point it out and I say, you know what? That there's got a crease in it on the gutter there. I'm not making that a hail damage. And I say, come and take a look at it. As I see that crease, and I point it right out to him, and he goes, yeah, you're right. And so we have that discussion right then and there. I don't hide anything from them when I'm doing my inspection. I say, hey, come on, let's hang out this together. And I go, look, I'm looking up at the fascia, not seeing any damage. You seeing any damage? And he looks up there and he goes, no, I don't see any damage either. Okay. So at least you know when you're writing it on the estimate that you're in agreement that there's no damage on that fascia. So if he comes back later and says, I got front fascia damage, and all I gotta do is call him up and go, dude, you and I looked at it together. There was no damage on that fascia. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll take it off my estimate. So we totally eliminate any of those questions because we discussed it while we were on the job. And the same thing, go around on the roof. I go, hey, that's a blister there. You know that? That's not hail. I'm not marking it as hail. Yeah, you're right. And then I say, hey, do you mind if you don't want to point out one to me that you actually think is hail so we can be on the same page? And he'll come out there, he'll mark one, and go, you're right. That sounds good. Okay, so when we're on that job together, we're discussing very openly the damages that we see so that I don't have disagreements later with that PA. So same thing with a contractor. Contractor, the only time that I will discuss something with a contractor at the end is I'll say, you know what, I just don't see the hail on this house, or I just don't see the damage that you're looking for. Can you point out to me what you saw is damage? Or even before that, before I even question them to kind of make them feel uncomfortable, I might say, hey, did you do the inspection on this house? And the first thing, 99% of the time, they say, no, our new guy did that. And so I sit there and go, yeah, because buddy, I'm not seeing any hail on the gutters. I'm not seeing any soft metal damage, and I certainly am not seeing any hail damage on the shingles. And every one of them will say, you're right, I'm sorry for wasting your time. You're right, there's no damage on this house. So, so that's the stuff that goes on with the contractors, is that I just ask them, hey, you know what? I didn't see any collateral on this house, and I'm just not seeing it on the roof for hail damage. I said, can you point out what you're looking at and what you think is damaged? All right, the question is it okay to use Eagle View or roof ridge or hover? I'm not trained to climb two-story. Oh, another great, so Lavelle's asking the same question. Yeah, so depending on the carrier, so for instance, ASI, which is Progressive, specifically uses their own software. It's an app that they want us using for roof inspections. In that process, in that app, they order the Eagle View for us. So cool. Don't have to pay for them. It's awesome. So it integrates perfectly. It's a great system. If you guys ever want to work for ASI or Progressive, I think, to me, they're the best user-friendly firm out there. I just love them to death. I hope I can work for them forever because they're just great. UPC, I work for. You're welcome. UPC, I work for, and they require us to pull a hover. So we just had it set up. I set up an account, and they add our hover account from UPC into my app. So when I pull it down the menu and hover, it says, who do I bill? I got right in there UPC. And so it's already in there. I don't have to charge it to me. Now, hover's a ripoff for me. It cost me $75 to pull that because I don't do enough of them. They charge me full price, and that's highway robbery to me. But I think UPC gets them for like $20 or something like that, because they do so many of them. But really, really cool. So hover works great. I love hover. It's super fast. I can get a report in less than an hour almost all the time, probably 15 to 20 minutes typically. Eagle View takes forever. I hate them. But the good thing is that when I first get my claim with Progressive, they order, basically it's ordering the hover or the Eagle View right away. So by the time I get to it, it's a couple days before I get to the inspection. More than likely, I already have the Eagle View already dropped in. But yeah, their Eagle View is about a day. I don't know, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever system they have set up with Progressive. It takes about 8 hours to get that Eagle View. Eagle View is nice. It imports nicely straight into it. Yep, State Farm does use hover or Eagle View, absolutely. It's probably the standard that is accepted, but I think a lot of people are going to the hover because it's now integrating well with apps. So Universal, they don't allow us to use any type of roof. They want us to measure everything, or they allow us to use it, but they don't pay for it. So here's a great trick that you guys can do. So if you're using Universal, or anybody who doesn't use roof reports, it's ask the roofer. Hey, roofer, hey, you got an eagle view on this one yet? And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll ask that after I've done the perimeter inspection, so I kind of know what the collateral damage has been. So if I see gutter damage, I see screen damage, I see siding damage, I know there's damage on the roof if I've got that stuff around the perimeter. Okay, so it's kind of a little tricky trick there that actually works well. And then as soon as, before we get on the roof, I ask the guy, I said, do you have an eagle view for this? And he says, I'm not sure. We might have, what's this one called? I can't remember what it's called. Some kind of roof thing, roof square or something like that. They just do the square version. So that doesn't do any good for us. That doesn't give us the measurements. It just gives them the squares of how many shingles. So that's not a good one. So you ask them, hey, you got an eagle view or you got a hover? And a lot of times the guys will say, no, I haven't got one, but I can pull one. And that's because they're the salesman and they don't pay for them, so they don't care. And so they can order it. And a lot of times they have the expedited, which gets it back to them in 4 hours. So by asking that, you can now give your email address to the guy and say, hey, can you go ahead and order this for me? Especially if it's a difficult roof to draw. Like if it's a simple roof to draw, then just draw it. You know, just measure it up and draw it if it's a simple one. But these ones that are all super cut up and like, it's going to take me an hour to draw this thing and measure it up. Then ask the guy if he can order it for you. So if he orders it for you, then you just saved yourself $75 or whatever, or $45 for eagle view or whatever it is, and you get the thing. Now it doesn't import it when you get it from the other guys. So, but at least it gets you the measurements so you don't have to draw it, and you got an overview on how to draw it. So that's a great way to do it. So do I ever use ladder assist? Good question. Absolutely. So when I use it, this would be on roofs that I don't feel comfortable getting on. Okay. Or, okay, that's one scenario. The other option is when I get to the house and there's no access for me to get on. So I get there and I couldn't tell from the Google view. So what I do is I pull up my claims in Google and look at them from the map and see if I can get on them. You know, there's a back porch, front porch, double pull, whatever it happens to be. It makes it easy. If I do the Google view, then I'm pretty much going to see whether I can get on that thing or not. If I can't get on it, then I might go ahead and order the ladder assist. But the problem with ladder assist typically is they don't get to us quick enough. And I end up having to put it out 2 or 3 days out before the inspection can be done. And I hate doing that. At last resort, I'll do it. What I have done in the past is I actually will send out a ladder assist after I've gone and done the original inspection. So it's kind of tricky. And I've never had a kickback. So guys, don't take my advice and say, hey, Daniel did it, and he's the one who told me how to do it. No. So I go out to the inspection, and I know I probably can't get on it. And I'll do all the perimeter, I'll do the inside inspection, and then I'll write a file note into the file saying inspection completed, but found no access to the house once I arrived. I'll go ahead and order the ladder assist, and a lot of times the carriers, almost 99% of the time, the carriers will pay for that ladder assist. Some of them will require you to get email approval. Most of them say no, just go ahead and do it, and bill us or whatever. So anyway, so I'll order it, and then when the guy calls, I'll say, can you just go out there and take photos and shoot me the photos? And just send me the photos and I'll put it on my report. And because I documented it by saying that I was going to get a ladder assist, they already know that probably they're going to be the ones taking the photos. I personally, because I am an independent, I can say I didn't feel comfortable getting on that roof. It was too steep and there was too much granule loss and it was too high for me to feel comfortable with. They can't come back and tell me you should have got on that roof. Because as soon as I can blame it on a safety concern, they can't say a single thing. They cannot say a single thing. Ladder assist is there for the times when you feel like there's no way that I'm getting on that roof. It's just not safe for me. And so every time that I've turned in photos where the ladder assist has taken the photos and they have submitted those back to me, I've never had a kickback. Never had anybody say to me, well, why didn't you take the photos? You know, I just say, well, I didn't get on the roof. I didn't feel safe. And then they let it go. So I've never had any. So yeah, ladder assist is awesome. I probably use them pretty rarely. You know, I've been doing this a while, so I feel pretty comfortable getting on pretty much every roof. But maybe 5 to 10 a year that I might use, maybe. And that's just because it's a last resort. Big ones for me would be 3-story townhomes. I just have no access to get on them. So I just, you know, they'll pull the 2-story ladder and put it on the back deck. And I'm not going to do that. That's just not safe. I'm not going to do it. So anytime that you guys feel like it's just totally unsafe, I don't feel like it, call ladder assist. They can't say anything about it. They're required to pay for it. So anyways, hope that helped. Well, thanks guys so much for joining me. I'm so excited. Do I work commercial? Yes, I do. So commercial is not very often. I know that there are specific people that get set aside for commercial work that the carriers end up, you know, finding somebody, I guess, for the firm that is specializing in commercial. Like I could call up one of my firms and say, hey, can you start sending me more commercial work? And they will decide whether they want to do that or not. Or they might even send me out to a training program or whatever if they decide to. But I have received commercial claims all the time, and I don't have any special training in them because it's basically flat roof systems. A lot of times we're getting bids from the contractors that say, hey, this is our bid to replace this flat roof or to repair this flat roof that got peeled up by the wind or whatever it happens to be. So commercial stuff happens. I went out to a tire shop not too long ago, like a auto care something or another, and it was a flat roof system. And you know, you're just up there looking, taking photos just like normal. AC unit was rusting, the little brackets that were up there, and it was leaking around the AC unit brackets that were attached to the flat roof. So you just document the damage, say where the leak was coming from, wear and tear, you know, and you mark up the damage on the inside, and then you write the best estimate you can. And if it's off, then they'll supplement. So it's not a big deal. Commercial is pretty easy. As far as drone work goes, insurance company does not allow independents to use drones. Right now, they just, they don't care about our, quote, safety, I guess, to the extent like they do the desk adjusters. And the reason why is that there are staff desk adjusters that are doing inspections for the insurance companies that are allowed to use drones. And the reason being is they're paying their health insurance, like State Farm specifically. They're paying the health insurance and they don't want them climbing roofs because to them, if they fall, then they're paying these long-term disability crazy expenses and they don't want that. So they'll send a drone out with those guys and say, hey, you can't climb the roof, but go inspect the roof. So yeah, drones are used by staff adjusters, not by independents. I haven't heard anybody, you know, that's allowed to turn in anything with drones. I have my drone license. I have my North Carolina drone license, as well as my FAA license. I've told everybody this. They don't care. They won't allow us to use it. So, most difficult part of the process for you. Most difficult. Probably dealing with the desk adjusters. I would say the desk adjusters to me are the least skilled of this whole entire process. I've been inside as a desk adjuster and been surrounded by a majority, probably 80% of the people that have never done construction, never been on a roof, never done any estimating. And those are the people that I have to talk with on a regular basis to get things approved or they have questions. I don't like desk adjusters. I hate to say it, but I have some that are good, and I talk to them and I like them, and I'm glad that I get to speak with them because they have some intelligence. But it's kind of like, it's almost like a file reviewer. So file reviewers tend to be also people that may not have been on a roof or may not have had any experience in construction. And they're tough sometimes. I just, you know, they're hard to talk with because I'm like, this is just not the the process of being knowledgeable when you're getting an estimate from me to be able to question what I'm writing on my estimate if you've never done this for a living. So I'd say desk adjusters and file reviewers are the most difficult, but as far as the level of difficulty, it's just a smidgen of difficulty for me. It's an irritation. It's not that big of a deal. So have you ever thought about being a PA? Okay, so let me explain that. That's actually a really good question because there are very huge differences between a PA, public adjuster, and an independent adjuster. If I became a public adjuster, I could never work for probably 80 to 90% of the firms that I ever work for the insurance company. You're blacklisted. Basically, a PA is something you have to really be careful if you decide to do, because you will not get a job as an independent for a firm if you've ever been a PA. I want to say that very broadly because I've heard that so many times. The only way you could be a PA is basically be a self-employed independent PA. And that's going to be kind of like a private investigator, where you're your own person, your own boss. It's tough. And the reason being is because I remember filling out a lot of documentation for some of the rosters, and they said, have you ever been a public adjuster? And so I asked one of the people that were accepting my paperwork, why is that important? And they said, because our insurance companies will not hire an adjuster who's ever been a PA. And the reason being is because the public adjuster has a personal vendetta against the insurance company. That's their goal. PAs are out to absolutely rip off the insurance company as much as possible. Most of my confrontational PA visits, I was ready to fight the PA. I was like, you're an idiot. I don't know who the heck you think you are, but you're a jerk and you're treating me like a jerk, and there's no way you should be talking to me this way. And they submit $100,000 over my estimate to the insurance company. And then the insurance company writes back and says, how can you write such a poor estimate? And I'm like, no, hold on a second. Let's talk about this. Your PA is writing the bad estimate. I wrote a good estimate. They're doing an inflated poor estimate, and they're trying to make me look bad. So that's what they'll do. They'll throw you under the bus trying to make you look bad. So PAs have a really, really bad rap with insurance companies. There is no cross-referencing between PA and independent. You're one or the other. You cannot travel between both sides. So if you ever get a gig as a PA and somebody's saying, hey, I'll pay you a ton of money, well, you may think very, very carefully about that, doing it the rest of your life, because once you have that on your resume, you're going to have a hard time going independent. It's just the way it is. So, hey, if I can't find any work as an independent, I might consider a PA, but that might be the very, very bottom thing that I'll ever do. Have I ever had to appear in court for claim? I actually came really, really close. I actually was an expert witness, but it was not in court. It was in a mediation process. Mediation is kind of like the insured's last response before going to court. They can take it to a private individual meeting with a mediator. I actually was a mediator too. I've actually done some mediation work. So I was a mediator in between the insurance company and the insured and a third party, which was their PA. So that was actually kind of fun. I enjoyed that. I got to spend the insurance company's money. That was really fun. So they gave me like a $25,000 buffer and said, please make the insured happy. We don't want to go to court on this because we're going to lose big time. So, make them happy with 25 grand. You haven't got a penny more than that, but make them happy. And it was really fun because then I just walk in and go, let's go through the estimate of problems. What do you got? And went through this whole thing. I ended up paying them about $8,000 more than what the estimate was originally saying, after they've argued nonstop about this estimate already and tried to rip off the insurance company nonstop. The only thing they would settle for was about $8,000 more. So I actually did a really good job on that specific one because the insurance company was willing to spend $25,000. I spent $8,000. I saved them some money, and the thing went away. And then they sign a release saying they're not going to come back for any more money, and that's it. End of deal. So it works out really good for the insurance company, keep them out of court, and the insured was happy. So, but no, they don't want to go to court. Court's really crazy expensive. I've heard some people as an adjuster going in as expert witnesses. So that's kind of cool. I've heard that before. I've never been called as one. I don't think I have enough experience. Typically, you're going to be looking for a general adjuster that's going to have that kind of experience. A general adjuster would be somebody that has about 20 years plus experience as an adjuster in all different lines. And lines of insurance would be from commercial, residential, property. Then you go into liability, workman's comp. I've got some health in there. I've got builder defect, crop. You know, there's all sorts of different lines. There's so many different lines of insurance that you could go into. That's what I was trying to say. As an independent, you can do all those things. So you will never have a lack of work as an independent, because if you just get bored in one, you can go to another. Like one, kind of on a side note here, but one of the things that somebody had told me about was being a crop adjuster. So C-R-O-P, it's like corn and wheat and all this other stuff. Anyway, so storms damage that stuff. You know, wind comes in, flattens out a crop, and they could lose, 150 acres worth of wheat or something like that. They can't use. So a crop adjuster comes in, and they have all these toys. So I told my wife, I said, whenever I get too fat and lazy and can't climb roofs anymore, and I don't want to be a flood adjuster, then yes, it is very lucrative. So that's why another option for you. But I'm gonna be a crop adjuster, and that's where you basically get a 4-wheel drive off-road vehicle, something that can go in the woods, and traipse around all on these people's property. And then you set up yourself with a GPS tracking system. Basically, it's like a stick on a pole for GPS markers, and your drone. And you go around and you basically, geomap the edges of, drive around this crop, on the damaged stuff, not on the good stuff, but on the damaged stuff. And you geomark all these areas to make this huge circle of how much, is damaged. And then your program, you fly your drone, and the drone is able to map out this whole, land and say, okay, the whole land is 250 acres or whatever it is. And 25 acres of this got damaged because the geomapping actually measures how much acreage is in that area. And then they separate it out, give a going price for, kind of like Xactimate, the going price of what that crop goes for in the market today. And you pay them, that's the claim. The claim is how much damaged crop did they lose based on this event. They pay a deductible, and you write them a check or whatever, or fill out paperwork to get them reimbursed for the crop that was lost. But for us as the adjuster doing that, you're out in the open, man. This is fun. You're driving this 4-wheel drive, you're geomapping everything, you're flying your drone, and that's your gig. And you just keep doing that over and over again based on, you might travel a lot. You might have to go to Wisconsin or Iowa and, map potatoes or whatever. So it sounds like a lot of fun. So, and I've heard people make really, really good money doing that because it's, there's a lot of driving. You might have to drive 100 miles to a claim or whatever, and each claim's 100 miles apart. So Symbility, yes, definitely. It's kind of weird with Symbility. I'll tell you a little story about them. About 3 years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, I was asked to go work on some Symbility claims, and so I did end up going through Symbility training, learn the software. It's actually a really good software. I like it a lot. Really good to learn. But it has a lot of quirks, and it's not the same as Xactimate at all. But what's really cool is that Erie, at that time, Erie Insurance was using only Symbility software to do their estimates. They've now turned over to Xactimate, but at one point it was only Symbility. And so here I am, a relatively, not fully experienced adjuster, but still doing pretty good after, actually about 4 years ago. So I had about 3 years experience. Wasn't super good at everything, but just, doing well. And I had a firm call me up and say, yeah, I saw that you have Symbility experience on your resume. We have a catastrophe that's over in Texas, and we need Symbility adjusters. Are you willing to go? I was like, heck yeah. So I ended up getting a call, did some Symbility claims, and made really good money. And I was very pleased with how it worked out. And because of that, I kept getting additional work, daily claims that were Symbility. I got supplemental claims. I got some desk work. from Stability. So it was actually a really good time because at that point I was relatively new and I was still trying to work through who I was actually going to work for and trying to gather up the best firms that I was working for. So it worked out really well to supplement. Well, now Stability tends to, there are a couple insurance companies that have contacted me and said, we're using Stability, would you like to do those claims? I've said no because I really don't want to go back into it at this point in my life, but there's still people that are specializing in that Stability software. So good thing to kind of have under your belt. I wouldn't spend a ton of money on any training. You might want to learn it on your own. But the expense is actually a little bit steeper, a little bit higher than Xactimate. So how they bill is about $5 a claim. So, okay, Liberty Mutual, I didn't know that. I don't work for them, so yeah. So they charge $5 a claim as access to their system. It's all online, just like Xactimate is. That adds up. So they have a max of like $200 a month, $180 a month or something like that, that they allow as a max. So say I did more claims to charge more than $5 a month, what is that, 30 claims or something like that? I can't remember. But anyways, it's like maybe 40, 50, that's 50 claims. So if I do more than 50 claims in a month, then I'm over that $5. I'm not doing my math right. But anyway, so yeah, so just think of it that way, $180 max, but I can get Xactimate for $100 a month through my firm. So through the firm I work for, through Alacrity, they actually get a discount. So retail is $300 on Xactimate, and I get it for $100 by working primarily through Alacrity. A lot of firms will do that if you make them their primary, and that's what they're doing as an incentive, is to try to get you to work for them more so that they'll have you for cat storms or whatever, but they give you a discount on that. So, but Stability, I'm not going to pay $180 every month because I was doing more than 50 claims a month, and so I was like, I'm not paying $180 a month to have this as an additional cost, as well as Xactimate at $100 a month. Yeah, Pilot, I've worked for Pilot too, and they did offer that as well. Actually, Pilot's kind of cool. They offer a discount on cell service when you work for them. So a couple other benefits, they'll offer, they'll give you discounts like, I don't know, 15% or 20%, I can't remember, off your cell bill as long as you're working for them. So there are a lot of cool benefits, rental car discounts, hotel discounts, cable bills, Netflix, all these different things. They have lots of different promotions that they'll save you money because you signed up with them or you're actually working for them. So check those out as well. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Any other questions? This was fun. This is my first one. I don't know if I told you that, guys, but this is the first time, and I get a lot of emails, and so people are constantly asking me questions. But it's so how long have I been with Alacrity? That's actually, I've been with them for the entire time, and you're welcome. I have been with when they were Worley. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Worley Claims was the original founder of. They've been around forever. I can't remember how long Worley's been around, but they changed names to Alacrity probably about 4 years ago. Barely starting my journey as an independent adjuster, so looking forward to it. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah. Well, watch my videos because they're really helpful for new adjusters. But yeah, so Worley started out long time ago, probably 20 years ago. And I started with them. That was the first firm that I got on with. I went to State Farm training with them. Let me think, did I do my training with them or did I do it separately? I think I did my training separately. Oh, wow, really? 1976? Wow. They've been around a long time. But hey, there's a big scandal with them. I don't know if you knew this, but the owner of Worley, basically, the reason why Alacrity decided to split is the owner of Worley had a different process of what he was planning on doing with the firm. So he basically, I think they had different ideas, business plans, something like that. They just had different plans, and all the rest of the group basically was saying, hey, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with your business plan. If we can't seem to agree, then we may have to disagree and separate ways. And so that's what happened. So Alacrity basically took all the management, and there's a ton of people. I mean, a ton of people, and basically said, we're going to change the name from Whirly to Alacrity. And sorry, but that's what we're doing. So that's what happened. So Alacrity was originally Whirly, and they changed. So hold on a second. I got to plug in my phone. Hold on a second. All right. Well, I'm thankful so much for you guys being here. This is fun. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to see how I'm going to plug this in without causing too much trouble. Isn't it funny when you want to find a plug or a connection, you don't have it? And I have one in my computer. One thing I've noticed about the computer is kind of weird is that when I plug my phone into the computer, it automatically changes the internet to my Wi-Fi or to my hotspot. And there we go. Well, maybe I won't go dead. Okay. So anyway, so it's kind of weird. My computer starts acting really slow because I've got it hooked up to Ethernet at home, and it immediately goes to the Wi-Fi or the internet or the phone internet, and it's really slow. So anyways, so yeah, so Whirly was a good company. That's what I started with. Did a lot of stuff. I did State Farm training not through Whirly. I went through, who did I go through with that? Maybe it was Wardlaw. I used to work for Wardlaw a long, long time ago, and I think they did State Farm training through them. But I did have one of my first gigs was with State Farm up in Maryland. That's where I went to be a desk adjuster up there. So that's how I got started. Is got my State Farm certification, and then they hired me. So that was good fun. So you guys got any other questions? How long have you guys been an adjuster? Anybody out there been an adjuster for a while, or is this all brand new for everybody? Cool. State Farm offers free Xactimate. Now that's cool. Yeah, but State Farm's changed a lot. A lot of people don't want to work for State Farm anymore. So, all right, February 2021. Good job. All right. How's it going? What status are you at so far? 1 month, Corey. I think I've seen a couple emails from you, Corey. Very good. Yeah, February 2021. Almost a year. Currently first deployment. Awesome, Lavelle. Awesome. Yeah, I tell you guys, don't give up when things are tough, because I know that a lot of guys, in fact, there were a ton of people that, oh, cool, 2 deployments, very cool. I know a couple people that I went on deployments with, and this is the really cool thing about doing some desk adjusting when you first get out, guys, is you'll meet some really neat people. You'll meet people from all over the country that are adjusters from everywhere. And actually, one of my best friends, he lives in Colorado. And it's like, I text him almost every day. And he's an adjuster, and he's still adjusting. And the last time I saw him was about 5 years ago. I mean, it's just been a long time. But we stay in touch. I mean, when you make these guys friends, I mean, in fact, I could point you 7 or 8 people that I still know from that time period that I still occasionally could just text and say hey to. So you will meet friends, especially like when you go to conferences or you are on the road and you go to a storm. You won't see as many as a storm. Like if you're actually out there inspecting, you probably won't see anybody that you know. Maybe at the hotel, if you end up going back to the hotel and doing some writing or needing some help, you might see some people. But typically, let's see, is there any networking events you recommend other than NACA? Yeah, I like going to the firm. So like, look up Alacrity. Alacrity has a great one. Wardlaw has a good one. Yeah, they go golfing. Wardlaw does. The thing that I don't like about these networking events is basically a bunch of men leaving the house and getting drunk, and it's not my thing. I mean, yes, the training is awesome. I really enjoy that type of it. But now that, let's see, around a month does the work start ramping up? I guess right now it's slow. Yeah, okay, this is slow. Yeah, this is definitely slow. Yeah, so the convention's great too. I've not been to it. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. You do get to see the people that are for each firm. So a lot of the firms will be there, and they'll have a booth and they'll have them all set up. Great. That's a great opportunity to, if you guys are looking to get plugged in and you want to put a face with a name, great opportunity. Okay, because there's a lot of times when, as an independent adjuster, you're just not going to see these people very often. And in fact, there are a couple I've never met that I've just never met. And we talk all the time. So, and I'll get new managers assigned all the time and never met them. So, and I get along with these guys great. We have great relationships. Been working for them for a couple of years. I've never met them. So it would be nice for me to go to some of these conferences probably and meet them, but there's a lot of expense to that. So you got to look at it on both sides. If you're brand new, you're looking to plug in, you want an opportunity to network face-to-face so they can see who you are, look that you're presentable, great opportunity to do that. Okay, so it's $600 to go to the conference. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to put out when time's slow. And that's why these firms do these conventions and conferences in January and February, is because they need money too. You guys aren't working, you're not making them money either. So they got to pay their bills. You got to remember, they make 40% of everything that you make. Yeah, hotels and travel, definitely. A lot of these are in Texas, Florida, wherever. Long way to go if you're not from that area. So they're making their money off of you. Every claim that you write, you're paying them 40%. So if you're not doing any claims, like for me, this last week, I think I maybe did 10 claims. The week before was about 8. It's really slow. So if I'm only giving them 8 claims at 40% of my take home, which a lot of these claims were small, they were not big roofs or anything like that, were high dollar, then they're not making much money either. So they're hurting. So they run these conferences. I mean, think about it, $600 a conference per head. And, they could probably get, 2,000, 3,000 people walk through that thing. They're going to bring us some money in. But again, those people are sitting in a booth. Yeah, they're an employee, so they're making their salary, but that's a requirement that their bosses are putting on them and saying, hey, you got to go to the conference and try and solicit work. So even for them, they're probably hating it too, but they're required to go because they're trying to represent the company. So anyway, so yeah, conferences are good. I like them when I can go and get continuing education, when that's a big benefit. So what I'll do is I'll look at their itinerary, and it'll say, we're giving all these certifications, they're giving all this continuing education credit, and then I might go to the conference, because if I look at continuing education, I do all my continuing education online. So I'm basically buying continuing education credits to take these courses and get credits. I pay $120, $130. That's way cheaper than paying $600 to get the same credit courses by going to the conference. So is it worth going if you haven't got a license yet? I wouldn't go. No, I wouldn't go to that expense. So spend your money in the things that are important. Get your licenses, get your training, get your Xactimate 1 and 2 certification. That's going to cost you some money. I think it's $100 every time you take the test. So, and then any type of certification course is going to cost money. If you do any type of pre-licensing courses, you got to pay for those too. They're $200 or $300 to kind of study for the licenses. They can get expensive too. So use your money wisely. So I kind of look at it and say, if I'm going to get a benefit out of this that is above and beyond where I can get it somewhere else, then that would be why I would do it. So as far as states, most important states to me are coastal states. I have a really good video on my YouTube channel that it kind of explains the licenses and the reasons. Look under reciprocity. Okay, so I do not do Xactimate certification training. So yes, California license is really difficult to get. Reason being is you got to live in California in order to get that license for 2 years. You're right. So look in my YouTube video under the reciprocity video. I think I've got one little snippet kind of on the front that says the reciprocity. I think it's got a purple screenshot. You should be able to find it. That'll explain a lot about the licenses and why I choose the ones I choose. I typically, what I do, and I had I had 23 licenses at one point when I was an inside desk adjuster, because I could then work more claims. And I also guaranteed my placement there working with the more licenses I had. The reason why that's really important, especially as a desk adjuster, is that when it comes around to renewing your contract, so they'll give you a 3-month contract sometimes, maybe less. Some of them might only be 30 days. If I walk in there, I've got all my certifications, I've got 23 licenses. I certainly, I'm going to look a whole lot better to the average Joe than somebody going in there has 1 license, and now when the phone calls come in, I've got to turn away. Hold on a second. In the field more than remote than inside. Yeah, so field adjusting is definitely harder. Definitely harder and definitely more secure for a long-term job. So, yeah, so when I'm sitting inside and when I answer the phone calls, I am normally handling 4 states of licenses and 4 calls for 4 states. Okay, so when a phone call comes in, it's one of those 4 states. I never know which one it is, but typically that's what they do, is they assign about 4 states for you. And as you have more licenses, they will assign more states to your phone call queue, so that you might have 6, you might have 8, depending on what zone they put you in. So if I only had 1 license and I tried to get in as a desk adjuster, they know that 3 out of those 4 phone calls, I'm going to have to turn away to somebody else. I'm going to put them on hold, and I'm going to talk to my buddy across the seat there and go, "Hey man, do you have a Georgia license? I don't have my Georgia license. Can I transfer this call to you?" And it's going to be an irritation. So every bit of that is going to be a bother to, number one, your trainer, your manager, and the people that sit around you. Okay, so multiple licenses when you are inside a desk adjuster is an absolute must. So at that time, I had 23 licenses. I could take every call that came in. I was able to help out everybody. And then when deployments came to renewal, okay, so they get the call from the big guy, and he says, "Okay, we don't need 45 adjusters in this zone. We only need 25. So 20 people have to lose their job. Every single time that I have been in that scenario, I'm always the last guy that was staying. And it wasn't just job performance, it was how many licenses I had. And the reason being is that they felt like I had more goose for the money, whatever you want to call it. I was worth more because I could answer more calls, I could answer more license questions, and because each license required different strategies or experience level to handle those claims, it became more valuable. Now, when I'm out as a field adjuster, the only reason I have licenses is because if I want to go to those states for storms. So I have coastal states. Texas license is good to have no license, but there's no cash. Yeah, so I keep all my licenses for my coastal states, whether there's a storm or not. So this year, didn't have a storm. I didn't go to any storms. I could have gone to Texas. There was, oh my goodness, there was 100 hailstorms this year in Texas. I could have gone. I didn't go. But I still keep my licenses. So think about the border. I just basically take Gulf Coast, take everything around the whole Gulf Coast. Florida, take the whole thing up the East Coast. I stop at Virginia because Virginia's free. They don't have a license. Anything above that, I don't want. I've worked Massachusetts, I've worked Rhode Island, I've worked Maryland. I hate every one of those states for catastrophes. I hate New York. I would never get a New York license. It's too expensive and the people are terrible there. So sorry if I offended anybody, but working claims in that area are absolutely the worst. The worst PA I have, the PA that I had there was in Massachusetts. Worst PA that I ever had was there. And so I just have a really bad experience with most of the northern stuff. I lived in Maryland and I did daily claims up there. I was in Baltimore, I was in Delaware. I had a Delaware license. Most expensive license you can have pretty much is Delaware. If you fail to renew, they charge $800 to get it back. I mean, crazy license to keep and to renew. But all the people up there were hard. They were extremely hard to work for. The claims were terrible. The people were terrible. It was PAs all over the place. It was a mess. So what I did is I um, basically just said, I'm going to keep from Virginia down for catastrophes. And then I have Oklahoma, because if there's ever a big tornado or wind event, hail event, I'm going to be there. I'm ready for Oklahoma. I've got Alabama, because they have a lot of stuff there too, kind of all sandwiched in that area too. I went up to Indiana, because Indiana has a tremendous amount of wind and hail damage that occurs up in Indiana. It also is the best reciprocal license, better than Texas, to get. So if you make Indiana your home license, like let's say you don't have a home license, then Indiana is number one, the best license to get as your primary license, because it reciprocals to more licenses and better licenses than Texas does. And their system is far greater, far better. Their speed of getting those licenses are super fast. You can get somebody on the phone in 30 minutes, not 2 hours like Texas. It's totally crazy. So Indiana is the absolute best. Florida is probably not that bad. I have not heard a whole lot of positives about Florida, except that they do reciprocal to a lot, but I haven't heard anything about their systems, about how fast they are. But I have heard so many people say, I can get somebody on the phone in Indiana in 30 minutes and get my license solved. But every time I call Texas, I'm 2 hours on the phone. It's a ridiculous place, because everybody thinks Texas is the best in the world for licensing. And originally it was. But reciprocals now became Indiana being the best. Florida, I think, is second, and Texas now is last. So anyways, just keep that in mind. But yeah, Texas, as far as licenses, I would definitely keep all your coastal licenses. Anytime you have a storm, it's going to occur on the coast, so you're going to be ready. You don't want to have to apply for a license. You don't want to have to try to get an emergency license. They're not going to take you. Emergency licenses cost them a bunch of money. The firms have to pay for it, and they're not going to do it. So Texas is hard to get a hold of. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, unless they've changed turnaround time. Yeah. When I was doing it, I mean, it was years and years ago, and they were horrid. So Texas, I don't recommend them anymore. And the reciprocal hasn't changed. Yeah, auto's totally awesome. Auto's a great opportunity. I started in auto, and I worked for State Farm doing auto claims. Loved it. Actually really enjoyed it. Did liability, which is basically trying to prove who's at fault for the car wreck. Just taking recorded statements. That's kind of a bother, but you get used to it. A lot of fun. Talked to a ton of people. Everybody's mad. Everybody cusses you out on the phone. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Yeah, but the policeman said you did. Well, it's still not my fault. I've never been cussed at more in my life in auto claims. And then on the flip side, I got kind of tired of the liability stuff. So then I went over to the total loss side. Total loss is like, hey, car's trash, and now we got to come up with the value of your car. Well, then you're still being yelled at and cussed at because the people are like, my car's worth more than that. And yeah, good, great. You've got some great licenses, yeah. So yeah, keep it up. Absolutely, just keep them up. And guys, the easiest way to do this is just budget for your yearly expenses. Your licenses come due about every 2 years. So basically budget for that in your thing. And I think I have $100 a month, I think, is what I put aside for my licenses, because every 2 years is about $2,400 for my licenses for every 2 years, and I think that even may include my continuing education. So I just put that in, just put it into your budget, so then when the year comes around and those licenses come due, then you got the money. You just set it aside in an account. Hey, nowadays, you might want to put it into a stock and sit on it for a year. You never know. Put in something good like Apple or whatever, and next year it's worth $100 more. Who knows? So, so it's just one of those things. It's when you are working as an independent or self-employed person, you have to understand that those expenses are going to come around all the time. Your licenses are going to come around every 2 years. Just like my drone license, even though I can't use it for insurance, one day I'm going to use it. I've got to go back every 2 years and get my drone license recertified, take the stinking test again. And it's really hard. The FAA test is super hard. I mean, blasted hard, really, really hard. And I feel like I could fly a plane, basically. I've studied so much about aeronautics and weather patterns and all this other stuff and cloud formations. I mean, it's just crazy. You know so much about flying an airplane by the time you're done. But I've got to do that. So I got to put in that expense into a budget every year to know that when that license comes due, I've got the money for it. It's important. And so the same thing goes. My ladder is going to break about every 3 years. It's going to be to the point where that ladder is going to wear out, the fittings or whatever folds. You know, I may drop it, I may bend it, whatever. So I've got a budget in for a ladder. It's not really expensive, like $300. So I budget $100 a year for a ladder. And irregardless, in that 3-year time frame, I buy a new ladder because I know it's safe for me to buy that new ladder than be on a ladder that fails. Why would I want to fall off a ladder that broke because I neglected it and left it longer than it should be? But if I'm climbing that ladder 3 to 5 times a day, you know, depending on how, in the summer, I'm on those houses 5 times a day. I'm on those houses when it's a big hailstorm or some real busy season. That ladder's getting a lot of wear and tear, you know, and I've dropped my small ladder off the roof. I dropped it, slipped out of my hand and came down and bent. And, hey, got $150. Got to buy that small ladder again. If I don't have that money set aside in my budget, then it's going to come as a hardship. I'm going to have to put it on a credit card or whatever. You don't want to do that. So just budget for it. So for instance, same thing with the licenses. You know you're going to have that expense. So just set aside your budget and take care of it. Tax time. Okay, so I am not an LLC. I never became an LLC. I don't recommend it. I carry error and omission insurance. Okay, I think I pay $45 a month for that insurance, and that's going to cover everything that anybody is going to sue me for. It's $1 million per event if anybody sues me. Okay, error and omission means if insurance company decides to be a jerk and says, you know, I wrote an estimate and I'm $45,000 off or whatever from the contractor, and they decide to be a jerk and they want to sue me. So what? I got a $45,000 loss. My $1 million coverage is going to cover it. So I recommend error and omission. If they want to come after me, I mean, think about it. What are they going to come after me for? Unless I hurt somebody. If I'm negligent and I drop my ladder in somebody's head, I mean, think about it. Carrying my small ladder and I decide, you know, the person comes out the front door and I drop it on their head and then the person sues me for $1 million. Yeah, I guess I would be in trouble and I wish I had an LLC at that point. So yeah, I guess you could see it that way. But if I'm careful, there should be no liability beyond maybe a $50,000 suit from an insurance company for writing a bad estimate. My error and omission insurance is going to take care of that. I just turn it over as a claim and say, hey, made a mistake, sorry, you know, whatever. My rates will go up $10 in a year or whatever, you know, just because of that. So as far as taxes, what I typically do, and this is not tax advice, please don't do it. It's just practical sense again with the budgeting. Every time I get a paycheck in, it's before taxes. So I'm getting my gross pay. The firm is not paying or not taking out any taxes. They're paying me 100% of what I billed for. It's my responsibility to do the taxes on it. So typically what I do personally is I take 20% off of that check and put it into an account, a separate account. And then every quarter, I just send a check. And what's really cool now, I'll tell you, I don't even have to send a check anymore. Now it's all done online. So I basically do a wire transfer from my account that I set up with the IRS, and I send my whatever I have put into that account. I pay everything but $500 and send it to the IRS in a wire transfer. And the next quarter, I do the same thing. Whatever I've put into that account, I send it to the IRS and that thing. And at the end of the year, I still owe every single year. I have had to owe taxes. But again, because I'm setting aside that money, when it comes around to the next quarter, I still have $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000 or whatever in that account that I've set aside. I can pay that next tax bill, whatever it is. If I owe it, I owe $8,000 or $10,000, and I got that money in it. So it's just kind of like one quarter behind every single time. Oh no, you can't win with taxes. You always pay. So the benefit is that I can do all those write-offs for me. So I have an app in my phone called Mile IQ. Guys, I recommend that highly, 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 highly. Mile IQ. It's made by Microsoft, and it tracks all my mileage from every stop and go that I do everywhere. Every single time my car stops and starts, it logs, puts a little map, puts a time, it's a date, location, address, everything, and logs it. And it's all done in the background. I don't have to do anything with my phone. Now, what it does is basically I go in about every month and I recategorize every one of those travel times or locations to either business or pleasure. And basically it'll send a whole list, Sunday, blah, and it'll give me all my dates or all my travel points in a checkbox. And then it'll do Monday, do the same thing. So what I do is I basically go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I categorize all Monday through Saturday. I automatically categorize as business. So I take it all and put it as business. Sunday, I always know that's personal because I don't work on Sunday. So I'll put everything in Sunday and I'll put it and categorize it to personal. So then what I do is now I'll go back to another part in the program where then I'll look at everything through Monday through Saturday and see if there was any personal in there. And what's really cool is that once you have categorized one, I can make a new label and I can say gym, or I can say, let's see, where else would I go? I don't know. That's pretty much it. I don't do a whole lot of traveling repetitively to different places because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll stop on the way home and do my errands. So literally think about the travel time. So if I'm at one claim and I stop at the grocery store, I'm not adding any mileage to my travel time to go home. I mean, I'm like a quarter of a mile off the road to get to the grocery store and I'm a quarter mile back on or whatever. I don't count that as personal at all. I just say it as on my way home and it's a business. I'm still traveling home. Same thing if I was stopping to get food, I just count it as a business expense. T-Mobile or Verizon, you can use their sign-up device and does everything for you. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so pretty much the Mile IQ app will track every single thing that I do. And then all I do is take out those personal items that I go to the gym. I'm not making that. So once I've assigned that one place as a personal, the next time I travel that, it automatically recategorizes that as personal. It never asks me twice whether this is business or personal or whatever. I can actually put in gym, and then every single time I do that same trip, it's going to recategorize it as gym. So then at the end of the year, I just print the report. I put it into my tax form, and I write off every bit of that mileage as an expense. And the same thing goes for my food. I haven't figured out a good app for my food, but I use Quicken. And so I'll print out a report in Quicken and every one of those food items that I've purchased food out of town. So I make sure that the food has been purchased out of the city that I live in. And that way I can say, hey, I was out of town, I was hungry, tax expense, I can use that as a tax expense because I was out of town. More than 30 miles typically is what I try to do when I'm eating lunch. If I'm on my way home and I'm only a couple miles from home, I can't use that as a business expense. I can't do it. So if I'm over 30 miles, I'll use it as a business expense. Anything else I can't. Well, guys, I'm going to get off of here. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I thank you so much for joining. Don't forget, I'm going to actually be uploading my next video, which is part 2 of the GoPro video, which is the first one that I did is up there. You're welcome. The first one is up, and that one is actually while I'm in the car talking about my inspection as I drive to the inspection, what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing, and all that. This next video, because it was so long, I'm doing from GoPro on my head. You're seeing exactly what I'm looking at what I'm seeing at the inspections. I did on the roof inspection. I did the whole thing with a GoPro on my head. You are welcome, guys. And as you know, all my training online is free, except for my macros. I can't help but tell you how good I like those macros. Those macros, to me, saved my life. There's no way I could write estimates today without those macros. In fact, it's kind of funny. I'll tell you a quick story if you guys are bored and you want to stay around for a few more minutes. When I write estimates without my macros, I always get them wrong. So the file reviewers write back and go, man, you had a bad day when you're writing that estimate, didn't you? I hate to say it, but I've relied so much on the macros that I miss things. I miss things in my estimates because, the estimates are sometimes, 20, 30 lines long, for doing something in a room. Whether I'm like, let's say I get a fire and I've got a whole kitchen. I'm replacing all the cabinets and all the countertops and the fittings and on the plumbing and the traps and all the trim details, the crown, the pre-finished crown that's on the cabinets and the pre-finished baseboards and all this. It's all in there on this macro. So when I do a fire, I just say, I have it saved like fire kitchen. And so I click on it, drop it in, and I basically change the linear footage of the cabinets, linear footage of upper cabinets, linear footage of lower cabinets, linear footage of granite. Everything else pretty much stays the same. I'm able to write these massive estimates with my macros because all those pre-made line items that I wrote once, when I was doing that, I wrote once and now I saved it so that the next time I go to write an estimate, I've got that macro there. So I'm selling those macros for $49. I think there's about 250 to 300 macros in there. Every one of those I used at one time and I use on a regular basis. Gutters, siding replacement, fascia replacement, siding replacement, big remodels on inside, wall replacements, just a lot of really great things in there. And I use those every day. All of my roof replacements, all my siding repairs, everything I'm using macros every time I'm writing these estimates, and it saves a ton of time. I literally can write an estimate now, pretty much, I don't know, a couple hundred line estimate now in less than an hour. And it's all macros, guys. It's all macros. It's not me going in every single line item and changing it. It would take forever for me to rewrite that estimate. It'd take me 2 to 3 hours to write those estimates. But with the macros, you're just dropping it in and then you're tweaking the line items just a little bit. So if you go to my website, it's www.clearskydroneimagery.com. So it's all spelled out. And there's a big picture on the front page. And right below that first picture, it says buy macros here. And there's a little link there and you can purchase them. And they're yours. They're yours forever. They'll work on any version of Xactimate. I've been using them since 27.5, and where they worked on 28, and now they work on X1. So they don't change. The macros, I just keep building my my catalog of my macros, and they work totally fine on every version because it's a subset of the program that will always work. So they can change the version as much as they want, but it'll always work. But they're $49, super cheap. I could charge $199 in a heartbeat for these. They're really a great deal. Hey, you're welcome, guys. And I'll do this again. This was fun. I enjoyed it. And anyways, check out my video. I'm going to have it uploaded here next hour. Daniel the Adjuster. Bye-bye, guys.